React State Management. Thus far we've only used properties to handle data in React components. Properties are immutable. Once rendered, a component's properties do not change. In order for our UI to change, we would need some other mechanism that can re-render the component tree with new properties. React State is a built-in option for managing data that will change within a component. When application state changes, the UI is re-rendered to reflect those changes. Users interact with applications. They navigate, search, filter, select, add, update, and delete. When a user interacts with an application, the state of that application changes. And those changes are reflected back to the user in the UI. Screens and menus appear and disappear. Visible content changes. Indicators light up or are turned off. In React, the UI is a reflection of application state. State can be expressed in React components with a single JavaScript object. When the state of a component changes, the component renders a new UI that reflects those changes. What can be more functional than that? Given some data, a React component will represent that data as the UI. Given a change to that data, React will update the UI as efficiently as possible to reflect that change. Let's take a look at how we can incorporate state within our React components. Introducing component state. State represents data that we may wish to change within a component. To demonstrate this, we will take a look at a star rating component figure 6 to 7. Figure 6 to 7. T. Star rating component. The star rating component requires two critical pieces of data: the total number of stars to display, and the rating, or the number of stars to highlight. We'll need a clickable star component that has a selected property. A stateless functional component can be used for each star. Const star equals selected equals false, on click equals F equals selected. Star selected star. On click equals on click. Star dot prop types equals selected prop types dot bool, on click prop types dot func. Every star element will consist of a div that includes the class star. If the star is selected, it will additionally add the class selected. This component also has an optional on-click property. W. When a user clicks on any star div, the on-click property will be invoked. This will tell the parent component, the star rating, that a star has been clicked. The star is a stateless functional component. T says it right in the name. You cannot use state in a stateless functional component. Stateless functional components are meant to be the children of more complex, stateful components. It's a good idea to try to keep as many of your components as possible stateless. The star is in the CSS. Our star rating component uses CSS to construct and display a star. Specifically, using a clip path, we can clip the area of our div to look like a star. The clip path is a collection of points that make up a polygon. Dot star. Cursor pointer. Height 25px. Width 25px. Margin 2px. Float left. Background color gray. Clip path polygon. 50%, 0%, 63%, 38%, 100%, 38%, 69%, 59%, 82%, 100%, 50%, 75%, 18%, 100%, 31%, 59%, 0%, 38%, 37%, 38%. Dot star dot selected. Background color red. A regular star has a background color of gray, but a selected star will have a background color of red. Now that we have a star, we can use it to create a star rating. Star rating will obtain the total number of stars to display from the component's properties. The rat in the value that the user can change will be stored in the state. First, let's look at how to incorporate state into a component defined with create class. Const star rating equals create class. Display name star rating, prop types. Total stars prop types dot number. Get default props. Return. Total stars 5. Get initial state. Return. Stars selected 0. Change estes selected. This dot set status to selected. Render. Const total stars equals this dot props const stars selected equals this dot state return. Equals star rating. Array total stars dot map I equals. Selected equals I. On click equals this dot change year 1 / stars selected of total stars. When using create class, state can be initialized by adding get initial state to the component configuration and returning a JavaScript object that initially sets the state variable stars selected to 0. When the component renders, total stars is obtained from the component's proper ties and used to render a specific number of star elements. Specifically, the spread operator is used with the array constructor to initialize a new array of a specific length that is mapped to star elements. The state variable stars selected is destructured from this dot state when the component renders. It is used to display the rating as text in a paragraph element. It is also used to calculate the number of selected stars to display. Each star element obtains its selected property by comparing its index to the number of stars that are selected. If 3 stars are selected, the first 3 star elements will set their selected prop 30 to true and any remaining stars will have a selected property of false. Finally, when a user clicks a single star, the index of that specific star element is incremented and sent to the change function. This value is increment because it is assumed that the first star will have a rating of 1 even though it has an index of 0. Initializing state in an S6 component class is slightly different than using create class. In these classes, state can be initialized in the constructor. Class star rate injectStends component. Constructor props. Super props. This dot state equals stars selected 0. This dot change equals this dot change dot find this. Change estes selected. This dot set status to selected. Render. Const total stars equals this dot props const stars selected equals this dot state return. Equals star rating. Array total stars dot map I equals. Selected equals I. On click equals this dot change year 1 / stars selected of total stars star rating dot prop types equals total stars prop types dot number. Star rating dot default props equals total stars 5. When an S6 component is mounted, its constructor is invoked with the properties injected as the first argument. Those properties are, in turn, sent to the superclass by invoking super. In this case, the superclass is React.component. Invoking super init aliases the component instance, and React.component decorates that instance with functionality that includes state management. After invoking super, we can initialize our component's state variables. Once the state is initialized, it operates as it does in create class components. State can only be changed by calling this .setState, which updates specific parts of the state object. After every setState call, the render function is called, updating the state with the new UI. Initializing state from properties. We can initialize our state values using incoming properties. There are only a few necessary cases for this pattern. The most common case for this is when we create a reusable component that we would like to use across applications in different component trees. When using create class, a good way to initialize state variables based on incoming properties is to add a method called componentWillMount. This method is invoked once when the component mounts, and you can call this .setState from this method. It also has access to this .props, so you can use values from this .props to help you initialize state. Const star rating equals create class. Display name star rating, prop types. Total stars prop types dot number. Get default props. Return. Total stars 5. Get initial state. Return. Stars selected 0. Component will mount. Const stars selected equals this dot props if stars selected. This dot set status to selected. Change estes selected. This dot set status to selected. Render. Const total stars equals this dot props const stars selected equals this dot state return. Equals star rating. Array total stars dot map I equals 3 React docs lifting state up. Selected equals I. On click equals this dot change year 1 / stars selected of total stars. Render. Total stars equals 7 stars selected equals 3 / document.getElement via React container. Component will mount is a part of the component lifecycle. It can be used to help you initialize state based on property values in components created with create class or S6 class components. We will dive deeper into the component lifecycle in the next chapter. There is an easier way to initialize state within an S6 class component. The constructor receives properties as an argument, so you can simply use the props arg meant passed to the constructor. Constructor props. Super props. This dot state equals stars selected props dot stars selected 0. This dot change equals this dot change dot find this. For the most part, you'll want to avoid setting state variables from properties. Only use these patterns when they are absolutely required. You should find this goal easy to accomplish because when working with React components, You want to limit the number of components that have state. 3. Updating component properties when initializing state variables from component properties. You may need to initialize component state when a parent component changes those properties. The component will receive a props livec. Call method can be used to solve this issue. Chapter 7 goes into greater detail on this issue and the available methods of the component life cycle. For Paul Hudson, State and the Single Source of Truth, Chapter 12 of Hacking with React. State within the component tree. All of your React components can have their own state, but should they? The joy of using React does not come from chasing down state variables all over your application. The joy of using React comes from the